Good evening, everyone. This is Susan Miller. Tonight's call is our validation call, and for my subject, I really want to talk about my belief in this industry, my personal experience that I've had within the industry, and really just kind of share that with you. For the past 25 some odd years, I was first introduced to multi-level marketing and actually had a huge success within that industry, but walked away from it for 15 plus years and didn't come back until I was introduced to Isagenix, but actually 10 years after I was first introduced to Isagenix, and I'll share that with you. I have such a strong belief in this industry, and for those people that might be on the call for the first time and you might be looking at the network marketing industry for the first time, I'd like to explain to you what this industry is and what it is not, and so that you have a better understanding, because I truly believe knowledge is power. And for those of you who might be on this call and listening to this for the first time that actually has had experience in network marketing or multi-level marketing, or know someone that has and might not have had a good experience, I want to try to give you as much information as possible in a very short period of time of, why that might have been. Because there are really very different multi-level marketing and network marketing, and yet there's a lot of similarities. And I want to talk about the differences because I want to really explain to you why and how this company, Isagenix, has got it right, and why they're going through such exponential growth right now, and why so many people from other network marketing companies, even traditional businesses, are looking at this saying, what are you doing? We need to understand what you're doing because you're doing it right, obviously. So let's just pull back for a minute and take a look at the industry. I was first introduced to this industry, which is in the direct sales industry, which I was introduced when I was in my late 20s. And it was multi-level marketing, and I didn't know the difference of it. What I did know is, in my mind, I thought it was a home party plan. And I'm not even poo-pooing the home party plan. I just didn't want to do it. I came from the salon industry. I was used to people coming to me professionally. I started off as a hairdresser, then I owned my own cosmetic company. I was in Boca Raton, Florida. It was a very high-end salons that I was in. And I just didn't see the need that I had to go to somebody else's home to market myself, nor did I want to sell somebody else's product. But I walked into a room in Boca Raton, which was a business presentation. I went in there for the sole purpose of being as a courtesy to a friend and trying to help that friend make a decision whether they wanted to pursue the opportunity. And so what happened was the first thing I noticed is that there were over 350 people in the room, which really took me by surprise. And then the second thing that happened was that there were 50% of them were men. And I could not believe that there were men in that room because the product line was skincare. So I knew that I missed something. And I share that with you because I want to say to you right now that if you're just listening to this for the first time, you might have missed something. So I really want to try to peel back this onion for you and let you really see what this is and what this isn't, so that you can make an educated decision whether this is for you or not, okay? And the thing is that multi-level marketing in itself is based on word of mouth, which is the same as network marketing. And word of mouth is the most cost-effective and credible way of bringing a product to market, no doubt. Ask any small businessman, okay? All small businesses build their business based on word of mouth. The only people that can afford to brand are the big boys with the big pockets, okay? And branding to me is no more than brainwashing, that you've seen a product enough times that you have name recognition, that you're going to put a famous person and face to it so that we're going to feel like we have some kind of relationship to that product, and if we use it, we might look like these people or we might be friends with them or something. I don't know. It's something they play in our psyche, right? But it works. And the reality is the mass majority of the people in the world and the businesses in the world cannot do branding. So what is the next best thing? Word of mouth. A product and a service. I built my business through a salon industry. I started there. You did someone's hair. They ended up becoming my mouthpiece for me because people saw the results of my work. They liked it. They marketed me for myself. And that was a beautiful thing. My customers did my marketing for me, right? I couldn't afford to put a branding campaign together, and nor would it have worked. And so we understand word of mouth is a very credible way of bringing our product or service to market. That is the correlation between multi-level marketing and network marketing, okay? So the problem here is that with multi-level marketing, unfortunately, we're going back 50 some odd years when it started, and the concept behind it was to do it through word of mouth, but what they ended up doing was turning people into becoming salespeople because they had levels involved with it. And I'm not really sure where that concept came up for them of needing levels, but innately there's a problem with that because what we're working on is an exponential growth of sharing a product and being able to track that growth. If you tell somebody, they tell somebody, they tell somebody, and next thing you know, you've got hundreds of people consuming a product or watching a movie that you recommended or going to a restaurant, whatever it was that you were endorsing or talking about. And we're able to track that growth. And so what happens is that when you have levels and you're paying people on different levels and you cut them off on a certain level, well, where's the largest growth? If you take a penny and you double it every single day for 30 days, the first 10 days it's $10. The second 10 days it's $10,000. And by the last 10th day of the month, the 30th day, it's over $10 million. So obviously the lower levels are going to have the larger volume. It's a 100% compounding effect, exponential growth. And so in order for people who were the ones that were really doing the hard work for the business, in order for them to get paid on that bigger volume, they put in place what was called a compression model, to where the volume would roll up to the top and squeeze out the people that weren't necessarily building the business, that might have just been consumers. And so what happens is, what does that look like? Well, it looks like the pyramid that they said it wasn't. And so that was the first problem with it. But the second problem with it was squeezing these people out. These people mattered. They were part of the process of sharing this with people. And what they did was they put these very difficult criteria together. They made you meet these very substantial money responsibilities of yourself and your teams in order to get paid. And if you didn't, you lost your team completely for good. And all of that is just innately wrong, don't you think? Because here's what they do in these companies, is they take the advertising budget that they would normally put into traditional businesses, into television, into magazines, into infomercials or what have you, and they take that advertising budget and they redirect it into the wholesale cost of these products. And as these products are naturally moved through people sharing their experience with these products and their results, they commission back and rebate back to that consumer as a thank you for sharing these products. And that volume starts to accumulate, and then they allow them to participate in the growth of that company. We become their brand partners. And so for years, this industry, even though it was built on the right concept of word of mouth, it got it wrong. And so even though I ended up joining that company that first time around because I was so impressed with what I learned, you know what they were talking about? There were 2 men at the front of that room that I originally spoke about, and they were from Boston, which is where I'm from. But I happened to be in Florida. I knew the minute they opened their mouth where they were from. They were dressed in suits and ties, and they were financial guys. And they were not talking about the skincare industry or the skincare product. What they were talking about were trends and timing. And they were talking about income potential, the way linear income, exchanging time for money, and leveraged income, where if you owned your own business, you were slightly more leveraged. But then they mentioned residual income. Build something once and get paid for the rest of your life. And I got to tell you, that's when I started to pay attention. Because I was 27 years old, I owned a cosmetic company, I was in the salon industry working nights and weekends, 60 hours a week. I wanted to start a family, and I was trying to figure out how I was going to hang on to my six-figure income. I didn't even want to grow it. I just wanted to hang on to it and not have to work that kind of hours. And see, owning your own business is basically, in many cases, we own our own jobs. And yes, we get to be our own boss, but you know what? We have a lot of responsibility being that boss, both physically and financially. And so the idea of building something once and getting paid for the rest of my life, that was very attractive. I thought that was reserved for people that were, very talented, that had a special art like, an actor or a musician or an author who were going to get royalties based on their work. I didn't think it was available to the everyday person, so I pursued it. And I got to tell you, I was very successful at it. Within 8 months, I replaced my full-time income with a part-time effort. Less than a part-time effort, because I literally only had 6 or 8 or 10 hours a week, depending on the week, that I could squeeze in 15 minutes there, half hour there to talk to people. And I did it consistently, because that's what they told me. You had to build something consistently in order to get that result. So that's what I did. I was a very good student, and I had very good mentors. And so I was able to replace my full-time income. And what I did was I sold my cosmetic company when I did it, because I knew if I could do that with part-time effort, can you imagine what I could have done with full-time effort? And 3 months later of full-time effort, I replaced my husband's full-time job. He owned a property and casualty business in Boca Raton as well. And so here we were, a year in, we had replaced both our full-time traditional business's income. My company I sold, his company went up for sale, and then we spent the next 3 years having the time of our lives. Because one of the best part about this industry is two things. One, it draws some of the most positive people into this industry. These are people that see the cup half full instead of half empty. These are people that just literally are willing to make a difference in their own lives instead of waiting for somebody else to make a change for them. And the other part of it that is amazing is you have complete time freedom. You can work where you want, when you want, with whom you want, whenever you want. It is the craziest thing, and I never knew it to be true. And there are so many other people out there. Majority of the people just don't get it. They don't understand the power of freedom and having that money, especially at such a young age. So we were able to live in Boston 6 months out of the year and live in Florida 6 months out of the year before we were even 30. That's what was reserved for people that were in their 60s and 70s. They called them snowbirds. People couldn't understand what we were doing and how we could do it. It was the most really amazing experience of our lives. We traveled the world. My husband traveled throughout Asia. I traveled throughout Europe after we built from the U.S., and it was just truly a wonderful experience until I got pregnant and I slowed down, and I was 32, and I realized when I slowed down, turned back around, that after we'd gone through this massive growth, there were a lot of people that were really struggling to hang on. They couldn't sustain the volumes that were necessary because of all of the restrictions that they put in front of these people, because they had turned us into salespeople. Instead of just paying us for helping to bring their company to a household name, they turned us into these salespeople and made us meet these criteria in order to get paid, which just is innately wrong. And I got to be honest with you, I lost my belief. And I quietly looked at my husband and said, I can't do this anymore, because half my team were falling apart and going to different companies and moving on because they needed to. And even though I was hugely successful, they were not. Yeah, there were plenty that were, but not enough. And it wasn't because they didn't try. And so I retired from this industry for 15 years. And once you've had success in this industry, what happens is people call you all the time from every other company looking for you to join their network. And Kathy Coover, the owner, one of the co-founders of this company, called me in 2002 when they started, and I said no to her. And I said no because I was not open to this opportunity. I believed that the industry was broken, and I didn't believe that they could fix it. And 6 years later, when friends of mine from my first company, not on my team but from a different team in that company, called me because they saw this as a huge opportunity to pursue this opportunity, I said no to them too. And at that time, it wasn't the right time in my life, because I had just started a skincare company, invested $250,000 of my own money into it. Obviously, I couldn't go focus on something else, right? And I say that to you because you have to be open, and it's got to be the right time in your life for this to work for you, and we get that. So we're simply sifting and looking for people that fit the model, that can see what this is and what this isn't, and raises their hand and says, yes, I want to do that. And so 3 years ago, Kathy Coover called me again. She goes, Susan, we're about to go through momentum, and we need people with network marketing experience to help shepherd us all through this process. We have a lot of people on our teams. We have hundreds of thousands of people in the company, but the majority of them are consumers, simply sharing the products, and they're making money, but we know what's going to happen over this next decade. And you know what I said to her? I said, you haven't hit momentum yet? What have you done wrong? Because in my mind, in these companies in the past, we would promote the volume, and it's unfortunate, but what you would do in these companies, because they made you, because you had to meet these criteria, is you had to force feed the compensation plan, and they'd have you buy in a lot of product and inventory, and that's just not the case with her. She said, no, we don't need to do that. See, we removed all the levels. We removed all the criteria that you don't have to do any of that because we are so confident that our products are so well received, that they're emotional and they're consumable and they have a major result attached to them that we don't have to make our people become salespeople. We just want to say thank you for helping us build the network. So something so simple as removing the levels and then removing any criteria other than a natural progression of that penny doubling, the you plus two, them plus two. And in network marketing, until you do them plus two, you're not in network marketing, you're in linear income. You're exchanging time for money. And so by them fixing that simple, so simple, that little tiny shift, what they did was they got it right. And not only did they get it right with the compensation plan, but they got it right with the product. Because, in the network marketing and multi-level marketing industry, 9 out of 10 times you're going to have a quality product. But one of the biggest challenges that many of them do is they overinflate the price of the product because they're trying to create too much money up front without a lot of the effort. And they don't price it for the masses. And our products were priced all around $30, $32 a price point. And I'm like, you're getting this right. I was so taken back by it. They flew me out to the company. I sat with them for a weekend with the CEO and the chief science officer and the owners of the company, who I had known well before I got involved. And I was so impressed with what I saw because, I knew that the owners of the company, which was so important, that they were network marketers. They had been in the industry combined with them for over 50 years of knowledge and expertise, both from the corporate side and from the associate side. And so I knew it was in their blood. They understood this industry. That's another big issue. What happens in this industry is that because it is such a cash-rich business, because so many people can start network marketing companies without a lot of money, and they don't have to pay people until a product is moved, what happens is they pop up all over the place. But the problem is they close down too all over the place. Or they can never get past a certain level. Do you realize that there are only 50 companies in the world that have hit, network marketing companies or multi-level combined, that have hit $300 million in annual sales? Only 50. And there are only 9 companies that have hit $1 billion in network marketing. And this company, this year, will be the 10th that hit $1 billion. See, they spent their first decade getting it right. And that first decade was all about infrastructure of our product, making sure that these products were well received, building upon that consumer base, making sure that whether the person was going to build this business or not, they were going to be a customer. See, we have 83.5% of our associates. Those are people who come on board as preferred customers, consumers, associates. All of them combined, 83.5% of them are simply consumers. They have no interest in building this from a business perspective. And that is massive. We have a 60% retention ratio of those consumers because the product works, because people feel better when they're on their products, because people lose their weight when they're on this product. Because people will go back to this, even if they use it to lose weight, then they go back to normal living, and then their normal living isn't quality choices, and they put the weight back on. You know what? They come back to us. Why? Because they know how to get it off. Because they know this works. And so we have such a strong retention there. But you know what happens when you show someone how to get their products paid for, which our compensation plan, because it's so simple, you plus two, them plus two, and 50% of the wholesale cost of the product is our advertising budget, of which they pay us to share these products with people. 11.5% of the people are what we refer to as our fans. These are people that simply get, by sharing them with a simple few family and friends, offset the cost of their own products. They earn somewhere under $500 a month in income, and happy to do so. Their products are paid for, and that retention jumps to 95%. Why would they buy their products elsewhere? They wouldn't, because they're free here. So why wouldn't they just continue to consume their products here? They would. And another 5%, that last 5%, those are the people who choose to build this and create a legacy income for themselves. That does not mean that they're the 5% of the people, only 5% of the people make the money. This is a business. And as such as a business, you need your consumers, and you need your fans, and you need your business builders. And in network marketing, it is a brilliant way of building a business because you don't need a lot of business builders in order to create the revenue for everyone to share in. Because, see, what they do is, as you introduce people, they give you product introductory bonuses. And that's how people make supplemental income. But attached to all that volume of the product that people are introduced to, they start tracking it. You plus two, them plus two, them plus two, them plus two, them plus two, over and over and over again, exponentially compounding effect. When you see people see a result from you, the product that you're consuming, and we tell people your body is your billboard. Build your body, build your business. Get a result. For me, the result came from a physical result of health issues. I dealt with a lot of health issues. I spent a decade exhausted in pain, and I was truly missing out on life. And it wasn't until I realized that nutrition mattered, and it was before even Isagenix. But what I learned from that nutrition, it was hugely expensive to buy raw food and to buy all organic and to juice 4 and 5 times a day, all organic, to try to get the nourishment in my body. My kitchen looked like a science project. And when I was introduced to these products and I put them in my body, I had the same, if not better, results because I was doing it, and it wasn't anywhere close to the expense. And it was convenient, and I was getting the results. And then to be able to say I could build a business from that, and let me make something very clear. I am not building this business because I love the product. I would have just been a consumer. I'm building this business because I know these products can help people, but because they have a compensation plan that is in place, that anyone that shares these products and pursues this business on a 3-year business plan, and that's what it takes, 3 years to create a freedom or create financial independence for yourself. That's what it takes. Just like that penny doubling, the first 10 days, the second 10 days, the third 10 days represents your 3 years. Your first year is the infrastructure year, just like the first decade of this company. They built the infrastructure of not just the product, but of their business. They didn't go into 50, 60 countries overnight. They're only in 13 countries in 13 years. Why? Because they needed first and foremost to solidify their first country, which is the USA, and then Canada. And then slowly but surely they started to go into different countries. But they only go into 2 to 3 countries at max a year now because they want to be able to manage that growth. And they want to be able to put their efforts and their focus onto building that company and that country, rather, at a time. Because these guys are network marketing experts. They know what they're doing. And what you're going to start to see now, because the industry has come of age, and Isagenix is the emerging giant that is the one company that when you look back in 15 years from now and you say, this was the game changer, this company is the company that got it right, that they did away with the levels and they did away with the pyramid concept and they did away with making you be salespeople, and they simply said, help us bring these products to the masses and we're going to pay you for doing so. Because, see, what we are doing and what network marketing is all about, and you should write this down if you're an associate in this company so that you know what this is. We are building a network of consumers who have a vested interest in staying with these products for life. And that vested interest is simply money. Think about it. I've introduced 80 people in the past 3 years I've been involved. Those 80 people, which equates to about 2 people a month. I'm not a master recruiter. That's not what I do. What I am very good at is developing teams and driving a network and building upon that network and helping people understand this industry so that they understand what their job is. I am not a product salesperson. It's not what I want to be. What I am is someone who builds networks and then shows people how to get their products paid for so that they're getting them for free, so that the retention is at 95%, so that those 80 people in 3 years have turned into over 26,000 people. I don't know who those people are. I don't even know all the 5%ers in my team. I know the people I brought into it, and I know my core leaders, and I help and support anyone that asks on my team for support. But at the end of the day, this is like franchising for the everyday person, because what it's all about is a simple, scalable model of where you can bring a product or service to the masses, where it could get networked and it could get tracked, and you can do it over and over and over again. A very simple process of sharing the product and opportunity with people. People are intelligent enough to self-select. We don't have to try to convince anybody of anything, because the people that see this, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person or the right thing to the wrong person. When people ask me all the time, what are the people you're looking for? I'm looking for me. I'm looking for people like me who want residual income, who want to build something once and get paid for the rest of their lives, who understands that this is a business, that this is not a get-rich-quick scheme, that this is not a fluke that you're going to make money. That is not what this industry is about. This industry will become mainstream. Mark my words. We're seeing it already. Traditional businesses are putting divisions of network marketing models within their divisions. Why? Because it works. It's proven. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry worldwide. And there's very little cost to word of mouth. And it's the most credible way of bringing a product to market. The key is that you have a product that's emotional, you have a product that is consumable, and you have a product that has a result attached to it. The key is that you have a system in place, that you master the art of simplicity so that you can do it over and over and over and over again. The key is that you're with a company, that the owners of that company are industry experts, not somebody that's going to turn around and bring this company public or bring this company by bringing in investors, because what happens when you do that is the focus goes off the associates. They're no longer your priority. The priority becomes the stockholders. The priorities become the banks. That's not what you want to see happening, because those people don't understand this industry. It is a culture, not a cult. It is a way of life. We are changing the way in which people think about how they can make a living. I was watching CNN the other day, and what CNN was talking about was how you have industry disruptors, and how Apple disrupted the way in which we communicate, and how Amazon disrupted the way in which we shop, and how Google disrupted the way in which we gain information. And I am here to tell you, Isagenix is the company, the name brand company that they will mention as this company becomes the next billion-dollar company this year, is the company that got it right and is the one that disrupted the way in which we create income. Because you don't have to be a salesperson, and you don't want one person to ever get squeezed out of this business. The natural progression of you plus two, them plus two, the coming of age of the network marketing industry with Isagenix being the emerging giant, the fact that you have a new industry, social media, social networking, that is the perfect marriage for this industry. You don't want to utilize that as an advertising campaign. You want to utilize it to connect to people. This is a relationship business. Make no mistake about it. That relationship begins with the trust that you have in the person that's sharing this with you. That trust of that person is based on their own personal belief, of their own experience. But that belief, it's built by knowledge. As more they use it, the more they become knowledgeable about what's taking place in their bodies and what's taking place in the way in which they can earn an income. And we are changing the way people do no longer have to work 40 hours a week for 40 years so that they can then retire and struggle for the rest of their life trying to figure out how they're going to create a cash flow and how they're going to be able to live till their 60s and 80s and not worry about money. Our 21-year-old daughter is graduating the #1 school for entrepreneurship in this country this May. By choice, this is her career path. Why? Because she gets it. She had the opportunity to go to work for a Fortune 500 company. She went to New York last summer to do her internship. She knew week one that this wasn't something that she wanted to do, that she was looking at her boss and her boss's boss and the boss's boss, and she goes, they're all working really hard, and they're all working to get their weekends off and to get their 2 or 3 week vacation that year, but she didn't have any joy going to work. She didn't feel the excitement of what it meant to go to work. And you know what the biggest challenge was? It's because everyone was competing against each other for the next position, for the next job. And when she talks about culture in this company, she was saying that everybody in this company wants your success because why? Because there's only one way we can gain our success, is that we show people how to have theirs. And so this next decade, people, in this company has become a money story. And that money story, we've earned it the right way through proving that these products are the real deal, so that at any given time somebody decides not to pursue this business, guess what? They're going to still consume our products. And that's what separates us from everyone else, because we built this the right way. And that's why you want to build your business the right way as well. And that's why you have to put your head down and work for 3 solid years. But each year is going to represent something completely different to you. The first year is like the penny doubling. That first 10 days, you're putting 6 to 8 to 10 hours a week, consistent effort, just like going to the gym. If you went to the gym 1 day a week and put 6 to 8 hours into, you think you'll have a result at the end of 6 months? No. You might have something, but nothing worthy of the 6 months, right? Certainly nothing that would make you want to continue to do it. But if you put in an hour a day, 6 days a week for 6 months, would you get a result? Absolutely, as long as when you went to that gym, you actually did something that had a result attached to it. Nothing is different. It's the exact same situation here with network marketing. It is about a cumulative effect of consistent effort. You do it until that first year you're building your foundation. We teach you exactly how to do that to maximize your potential in this business. The second year, with the same effort, your income is dramatically doubled, if not tripled or quadrupled. And the third year, you have removed yourself from the day-to-day activity of this business completely, because it actually has nothing to do with you anymore. Because there's so many people on your team, just like mine. My first year, I earned $90,000 in this company. The second year, I earned $400,000. And this, any day or any week now, I keep thinking it's any day now, I will hit the $1 million in cumulative income within a 3-year window of time. But you know what's more important to me than that? That proves that this is the real deal with the real company? I have dozens and dozens and dozens of people duplicating that exact same trajectory on my team. And none of them had network marketing experience, or I should say the vast majority of them did not have network marketing experience. So I truly just wanted to leave you with my belief in this. It's clear, I'm sure to you, that I know in my heart that this is the right company at the right time. You just have to decide if it's the right time in your life to pursue it. There is a timing issue with this company. It's not going to always be in vertical growth. We did 62% increase over last year. This year, we're going to do the same again this year. The numbers are real. The company is truly just getting started in its vertical growth for worldwide. But here in the U.S., we have a 36 to 48-month window of time to capitalize on what's going to take place. We are going to become a household name here in the U.S. now. And you can get in now or you can get in later. It all depends on if you want to be a part of this. Obviously, the sooner the better. You want to get a small piece of this big pie. And you just need to decide how big a piece you want. If you decide that this is for you, let the person know that asked you to be on this call that you're in, and ask them to show you exactly how to do this. But I will tell you now, the first thing you have to do is become a consumer. And from that consumer, you will become a fan. And once you've become that fan, we can show you how to become a business builder. We all start the exact same way. So your next step is to try the product. And if you're an associate on this call and you already decided to jump in and do this, make sure you're connected to our calls. Make sure you're connected to this information. Make sure you use your team leaders to help you build your business, because this is a team building compensation plan. We all put people underneath each other and we all benefit from the same volume. This is not something you do alone. So let us help you. Well, I thank you all for being on the call this evening. I went a few minutes late, but I really had a lot to share. And I'll leave you with my absolute favorite saying: what would you do if you knew you could not fail? And I'm telling you guys, I know that any one of you that put in the right effort over the next 36 months, you will have the success that you so desire. Thank you so much for being on the call this evening. Have a wonderful night.